You've mentioned how you're going to do a Bisping for this fight. I remember when he fought Rockhold, he said, oh, the lack of notice meant he couldn't overthink it. Are you feeling the same way?
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Honestly, usually with like a 10-week fight camp, I've got so much time to like, it's like just a massive build-up, whereas this time, especially because I didn't have my visa, that took a lot as well. So I didn't train, didn't have my visa, and I was just scrambling around like last minute, and before you know it, they just throw me into New York. I'm here, don't even have time to think about the fight, so I think it's working to my advantage so far, but obviously I've not fought yet, so we'll see, mate, Saturday night.
That said, it was pretty obvious this was the guy you were going to fight anyway, right? It seemed like he was the logical next opponent for you, so you've been preparing for him, even if you haven't been in camp, you've been preparing for this guy for a while.
No.
Oh. So in that case, what are you expecting? You know, everyone's talking about he's, very dangerous early on, so are you. So maybe the tactics should be, oh, let's take him into deep waters and see how he does there, or do you rely on your own ability to get them out of there early and just be aggressive from the opening bell?
I don't know. I think it's heavyweight MMA. You got to see what happens. He's a very, very dangerous guy, as am I. And yeah, mate, I'm just focused on going in there and enjoying it. Like, this is my absolute dream, fighting in Madison Square Garden, heavyweight title. Pavlovich, like, everything is coming together, and I'm just going to go out there and do my thing and enjoy it.
What did you make of Sergei's last fight? Because when he fought Curtis Blades, a lot of people seemed surprised that Curtis wasn't shooting for takedowns, but I guess if you watch that fight back, Curtis was landing a lot of strikes. Sergei was just kind of walking through them and walking through Curtis's power. So what did you make of his last performance?
Yeah, I mean, I was also surprised that he wasn't going for takedowns, but like you say, he did have a lot of success just with, he was landing, so maybe he believed that one of them was going to land and put his lights out, do you know what I mean? So maybe he just got a little bit, I wouldn't say greedy, but he just got, he was having success, so he was just sticking with that, so I wasn't too surprised, I guess.
Tom, down here to your right, piggybacking off what Jose said there about Jones and Stipe, obviously the reward would be fighting one of them at some point later later next year. How are you putting that to the back of your mind ahead of this fight? Because I know that you've said before on record that you've wanted to fight Jones and be the first man to hand him a legitimate loss, and then obviously the prospect of fighting Stipe, who's considered the greatest heavyweight of all time, is a mouth-watering one for yourself. So how are you putting that to the back of your mind?
Oh, it's quite easy to put it to the back of my mind, to be honest. I've got this absolutely massive Russian going to come at me on Saturday throwing absolute bombs, so if I was to think past that, that would be a little bit silly. So I'm just focused on Pavlovich right now. I'm not thinking about anything else at the moment.
And I know the fight hasn't rolled around yet, but it wasn't that long ago before you got into the UFC that you were struggling to have fights and that you made the decision to pack it in for a little bit. Is it a bit surreal now to know that you're going to be co-headlining at the greatest combat sports arena in the world?
Yeah, I guess so, but I kind of expected it as well. I've had a couple of tough times earlier in my career and stuff with injuries and with not being able to get matches, and I was really struggling for money at a few points as well, which was tough because I got children and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it was, but also on the other hand, like, I expected to be here. I expected to be UFC heavyweight champion. I expected to fight in New York one day, and yeah, so it is and it isn't. Like, when I think back about how far I've come and stuff, it's good, but I don't really have time to do that. Like, I think that's something that I'll look at maybe when I've retired, because at the minute I'm just like in the moment. At the minute I'm just looking forward to Saturday, and I'll think about all that stuff probably when I'm done with this sport.
And the odds are seemingly stacked against you. I mean, taking this fight on 2 weeks' notice, is defying the odds something that you're relishing, that prospect?
I like that. I like it a lot, to be honest. I'm fighting the scariest guy in MMA, in my opinion, in the worst circumstances possible without a training camp. But I obviously think I can win. Like, I'm not the kind of guy who shows up for money or who... I ain't signing a contract and showing up if I don't think I'm going to win. Like, I truly, truly believe that I can win on Saturday night and that I'm going to win. I'm an absolute winner, and I'll find a way to win, no matter what the circumstances. So, yeah, the odds are definitely stacked against me, and it'll be even better when I win the title on Saturday night.
And you have been matched up with Sergei before in the past. Obviously, those fights didn't happen. Did that give any advantage in terms of obviously the short preparation that you've had?
I don't know, because it was a couple of years ago now I was supposed to fight him, like the last time I was supposed to fight him, and I think we've both evolved so much, especially I think I've improved a lot since then. You know, I know his style and his tendencies and stuff, but the guy's straight up dangerous. I'm not even going to like beat around the bush and bullshit it. Like, the guy is really, really dangerous if you play his game. So I kind of know what to expect, but I've had a lot of fights at this point, and it doesn't always work out the way you think it's going to work out watching it on TV and then stepping in there in front of 20,000 people and millions around the world. It doesn't always work out like you imagine in your mind. So I think I know what I'm up against, but I don't really know until I step in there on Saturday.
And you've never made it into the third round, so are you anticipating that this could go the distance, and how have you been preparing yourself physically for that?
I mean, I don't want it to go into the third round. If I can knock him out with the first punch, I will do. Do you know what I mean? If I can take him down and submit him in 30 seconds, I definitely will do that as well. But if I've got to go 5 or 3 or whatever, like, I'm happy with that as well. Like, I'm pretty prepared. I was keeping my body in decent shape. Ideally, I would have liked 10 weeks, but I've not had that, obviously. But I'm a professional athlete and I take my job very serious, so I'm always in decent shape.